So I'm just having a little chat here with Glenn Proudfoot, guitarist for Kosice in English. That's Prague Selection 2. I witnessed this man play an incredible show last night at the National Theatre in Kosice, Slovakia. And I consider Glenn to be one of the most exciting up-and-coming guitarists in the world. So, what do you have to say about that, Glenn?
You're right, Roger, you're right. Well, I don't know, how do you respond to that, mate? It's you know, coming from someone like yourself, it's a very, very flattering comment.
So what's it like playing with the great musicians in Prague Selection 2?
Yeah, it's really incredible. I mean, it's you know, for me personally, it's amazing because, you know, I was sort of in with the Australian music scene. What's popular there is more kind of you know, standard rock and roll, and as a player per se, you don't get the opportunity to really, you know, show what you're about. So, you know, working with this band, you know, there's an opportunity in every song to really let fly with your playing, and you know, for that, it's absolutely optimum for me.
And what's it like for you being an Australian from what city?
Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Or Melbourne.
Melbourne. Living in Prague.
Yeah, it's an incredible experience, man. I mean, you know, Europe itself is just so much completely different from anything in Australia, you know, because Australia's a relatively new country. So it's been an absolutely amazing experience in so many ways, you know. But having said that, you know, I mean, you know, there's no place like home, as they say, and you know, I do miss home a lot, especially the weather. The weather here is better left unmentioned. But no, look, it's been incredible because I've never lived in, you know, I've travelled a little bit, but I've never lived away from Melbourne for you know, a very long extended period of time. So I feel as a person, you know, it's made me grow immensely. So yeah, it's been amazing.
What would your advice to a young aspiring guitarist be in becoming the greatest artist they can become?
I guess you know, don't forget your own identity. You know, I mean, I think it's really important to have some great influences. You know, but don't try and copy them too much. You know, it's about taking, you know, something from everyone, but creating your own style. You know, and I kind of, without sounding pig-headed or anything, I kind of, you know, believe that that's what I've done. You know, and it really is. I mean, I you know, got that advice off my guitar teacher, and you know, it's really invaluable.
Right. And so to get an audience off, what's the magic ingredient?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, for me personally, I mean, you know, as a young guitarist, you know, I watched people like Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and you know, and one thing I will say about Hendrix is that, you know, that I don't think that anything was necessarily planned. It was just, you know, whatever happened on the night, whatever he felt on the night, and you know, I kind of learned from that. And you know, it's the same for me. You know, some nights it's you know, you just really lose yourself in the music, and something crazy happens. You know, but I think, you know, another great influence for me was Angus Young from AC/DC, and you know, he for me is the ultimate showman. You know, I mean, I've watched hours and hours of footage of them play through all different eras, and you know, he's just the ultimate performer. I've never once seen any footage of him where he didn't give 100%. You know, and I believe that as a musician, when you're playing live, it's about the show too. It's not just about the music. You know, it's on the CD, of course, it's about the music, but it's a visual thing when you go to see a live show. You know, so me personally, I like to give, you know, 100% on a performance level as well, which sometimes means that you have to sacrifice a little bit of the playing, you know, but it's about finding that balance.
So, on tour, I've seen many shows now since coming here in May. How do you keep the inspiration and the energy night after night?
Well, I think, you know, sometimes it is difficult, but you know, for me personally, I've never been involved in a band that's, you know, so famous, you could say. So for me, it's a doing something on this scale is a relatively, you know, well, it's a new experience, you know. So for me personally, I mean, every night and every show is still really new and exciting for me. But you know, I mean, it's also, you know, I mean, music and performing, it's about, you know, you do it for the people, you know, as much as you do it for yourself. So for me, it's the people that you know, even if I'm not feeling well or whatever, you know, I mean, as soon as you get in front of people, you know, it gives you that inspiration and that drive and that energy to perform at your greatest.
And do you ever have a problem with like too much adrenaline, butterflies in the tummy sort of thing?
Yeah, it's not butterflies for me, but yeah, it's definitely adrenaline. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because you know, a lot of the stuff that we play is quite technical. You know, you really, you must find that balance, because, you know, sometimes I do get on stage and I'm so full of adrenaline that I go to play and it's, you know, it's mush. So,
so
yeah,
what could you tell? What advice could you give a person to deal with that adrenaline? Because I had the same problem.
I really don't know. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, it's the only thing I can really say is to try and stay relaxed. And as a guitar player, it's very important to keep your shoulders really relaxed, because once you start to tense up and you start to fight the guitar, you know, you lose your tone and all this kind of thing. But yeah, it's kind of difficult. I think it's just one of those. Well, it's been for me difficult here. You know, the first few shows I had that major adrenaline. And I think it's just something, you know, throughout time you get more and more comfortable playing in front of big crowds, and it's, you know, you just naturally become more relaxed before the show.
So an aspiring guitarist should just get on stage as often as possible and play.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, there's no greater experience than doing that, you know. And in Australia, growing up, you know, I'd play as many as, you know, nearly 5 or 6 nights a week, you know, and do that for months on end, you know. And it's just great experience, you know. Because, you know yourself, there's some, you know, there's some, like my guitar teacher's, he's an absolutely amazing guitar player, but he's you know, a studio musician. And for him, he doesn't really like to play live, you know. But for me, it's the opposite, you know. Playing live is what it's all about for me. But yeah, it's just something that you must practice to get perfect, you know. And I certainly, not saying that I've got it perfect, you know, I've still got a long way to go, but yeah, the more you play in front of crowds, the you know, the better you get at it, definitely.
Great. We've just been given word that we have to go. We're going to go watch a ballet now and a premiere performance of Mikhail Kosisce's music. And thank you very much, Glenn. It's an honor being on the road with you here, pal.
Oh, likewise, mate. Likewise.
Great.
Tak ciao.
Ciao.
Thanks, buddy.